Hello. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the next part of our Notification Manager series. In this case, is going to be the actual usage of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go screen by screen through ARMS and show you all the different things that will proc and send out these email messages that we talked about in the previous episode. So we're going to kind of start here on the CAD side, work our way through case management, and show you all the other different screens that have the possibility of sending out an email based off of what selections you made when you were setting up your users earlier. And here we are. The first screen we're going to take a look at is the CAD screen. Now, the easiest place to point out where we're going to be getting notifications from is the initial incident and common name fields. So depending on when the dispatcher is starting up a call, if the initial incident matches one of the incident codes you picked for your profile when you were setting it up from the previous video, then that may spark an email to be sent to you. The other field that goes into that equation is your common name just below that. So whenever you're picking your common name and your incident, depending on how you set up and combine your rules, this incident may go out to you or may not. So let's just take an example here. If I started up a new call, and let's say it was a simple assault that occurred at the museum. If my profile is set up to receive emails for simple assaults that have occurred, then I'll get an email. However, if I've set up my locations to not include the museum, then I would not receive that email. So when I'm putting in this information and receiving it through ARMS, I need to keep in mind that each of those rules are going to overlap to control what we're going to see in those emails. So if we want to receive every instance of a certain incident code, we want to make the rule built on incident codes without showing any locations. If we want it to be just built on locations, we can make the rule surrounding locations with no incidents. But then finally, if we want it to really combine and create a solid filter of incidents and locations at the same time, you would apply both parts to a single rule in your system to accomplish that. Here we have an example of what a CAD notification could look like when it gets sent out through ARMS. You'll notice the information we have here, that it was a vehicle stop, the date, the incident number and case number if needed, and then all of the reporting party location, disposition, police information if you're not marked for public only, and public information is all listed here for us. So we have all of this information sent to us automatically in an email as soon as we hit send on or hit save on my CAD event here in the background. Now, a newer feature to ARMS CAD that you may not be using currently would be the Notify Now button here in the lower right-hand corner. The Notify Now is going to allow you to update this notification that's being sent out. So when I hit save on this, it's going to send out that notification right then containing any information that I have on this call. So let's say over the course of the call, somebody adds in some notes or adds in some new officers or changes the location, whatever the case may be there. I want to be able to send an updated email to show my users the new information. So this Notify Now button will allow you to always be able to click that to send out an updated alert to everybody that would automatically receive that anyway. So for example, if I've received my simple assault email earlier and I hit update through my Notify Now button down here, that's going to then send out another one to update me and let me know whatever the new information on that CAD incident is. If we change some information about this call, it may now meet new people's qualifications for their rules in Notification Manager. So when I hit Notify Now, I'm not necessarily always sending the notifications out to the same exact people. It's going to send out to the proper people depending on what that call contains for incident codes and common name at that time. Our next item here is going to be on the case report screen. So in our case report, we have the same two factors at play here. We have our crime codes down here at the bottom and our location up at the top. So if my case report meets my rules for crime code and location, I'll receive that notification once this case report is approved. I won't receive any case log notifications until that case report has gone through the full case report approval process in the system. And here we have an example of what a case notification would look like. So once that case report has been approved in the system, that way we can send out a notification to a user or non-user to let them know this information about that case report, to let them know it exists in the system. We don't send out full case log reports. This is just a notification so that if you do need further information and don't have access to ARMS, that person would need to notify the department to get any further information they may need. The next area of case reporting that can send out notifications is going to be through the approval process itself. So when I submit a case report for approval, it's going to notify the person who I set as my destination user to let them know Jason Worth has submitted case number 19070012 for your approval. Now, if that user kicks that email or kicks that case report rather back to me, I'll receive that email too to let me know that the approving officer has kicked back that case report and that I need to now jump back in and fix whatever's wrong with that case report to get it resubmitted. So every step of the way here, we're sending out these emails so that you can easily keep track of the case approval process, whether or not you're looking at ARMS at that exact moment. Here we have an example of what a case report submission looks like. It's going to let us know who we're submitting this to, who was the owner of this case report, as well as any notes that accompanied that. So in this case, I said submitting again. Hope I did it right this time. So now I can see this email in my inbox if I was the destination user and see, oh, I need to now jump in and review this case report and see if it needs to be kicked back or approved. And then here would be an example of if a case report was approved. So if I have a case report in the system that has been submitted for approval, I'll either be able to get a notification that the case report has been final approved, so like in this example, or a normal approval has been applied to it. So either way, I'm going to be able to keep track through email once that case report has had its approval or a kickback applied to it. Finally, here we have an example of a kicked back report in the system. So here you can actually see that I have kicked back the report and I'm including the notes here so the person that wrote the case report can then use those notes to apply to the case report and fix whatever the problem was. The next item we're going to take a look at here is on the property side. So when a user is putting in a piece of property, you'll notice down at the bottom of the screen there is a date reviewed that the user can enter in. So you'll notice down here at the bottom where it says review date, I can put in a date here, and this will mean that if I put in something like, let's say, August 1st, 2019, that means on August 1st, whenever the daily property email gets sent out, this piece of property will be included with it. So at that point, the user will then be able to take that information and do whatever they need to with it, submit it for destruction, return it to the owner, whatever they may need. And here we have an example of what a property review notification would look like. So this is the sample piece of property, a bicycle listed as a red bike here, listed as found property. So I would receive this email based on whatever day was put into that review date if I'm set up to receive that on my profile in Notification Manager. Our last example is going to be surrounding the investigations module in ARMS. So when I add in an assign for investigation record into the system, you'll notice I have several dates that I can put in, two of which are review date and the purge date. So when I put any of these records in, I'm going to, first of all, automatically email whoever I'm assigning this to. So if I assign this to, let's just say, for example, here, Josh Downs, then that means when I save this record in the system, Josh is going to receive an email to let everybody know Josh has been assigned this case report for investigation. Now, I could also go ahead and put in my review date. So, for example, if I put this in as, let's say, next Friday, that means that next Friday we're going to have a review date of all the investigations that were sent for review to whoever is subscribed to those emails in their profile. So I'd get this one and any other ones from that day would all come to me in a single email listed as investigations for review. And then the other one we have there is purge date. So if I set up a purge date of a few weeks from now, maybe 2 Fridays from now, then I would receive an email that morning with this investigation and every other investigation that has the same date that I've been set to purge that investigation out of the system that day. And here's an example of what an investigative assignment email would look like. So you notice here it's going to show the case number, This case has an investigative assignment due for review in this case. It's going to show who it's assigned to, when it was assigned, the status, when, and then what that review date was as well. So all that information will be in that email that will go into your inbox if you are subscribed to that type of email in the system. The last item we want to take a look at here is how we're going to be subscribing to a name in the system. So once I have a master name file open that I want to subscribe to, so let's say Alex Smith here is a person that I want to be notified of every single time this person's name pops up in the system. I can come over here and hit subscribe. Now when I hit subscribe, that means if Alex Smith gets attached to a case report, gets attached to a CAD event, what have you, it's going to send me an alert in the system to let me know what they're attached to and the date and time that it occurred. Here we see an example of what one of those name notifications would look like. So notice a very simple note basically sent to me to let me know that Jason Worth was added to an incident on this date and time. So now that I'm aware, I can go into ARMS if I need to see any more information about what he was involved in, why he was put on that case, etc. Now, you can do the same action from the thick client of ARMS as well. So from the thick client, if you had to look up a master name, for example, you'll notice that there's also a subscribe button at the top of it as well.